in my whole life, when somebody's given me a compliment, I've always dismissed it. I've found that when I do that, I'm not giving that person respect. I'm not hearing them. It's like as if they don't matter, and I'm just dismissing what they said.
Right.
And then when I start to look at it that way, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never want somebody to feel dismissed, because
Right.
when you're dismissing it, not only you're dismissing it for the person that's giving it to you, but you're dismissing it for yourself.
Right.
That's like impactful on a soulful level. Like
Right.
take it in. And it's uncomfortable to take it in. That's why we do it. That's why we dismiss it.
What's up? This is Kelly and Jay for the Level Up podcast. We're here to hopefully impact your business and your life. Kelly, let's get into connections with people. When I think about our relationships, it really comes down to our emotions and our feelings and our interactions in those moments.
Yeah.
And we're working on lots of things together. And you do this so well, and you meet people where they're at. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of those moments where maybe I let you down, maybe another colleague let you down, or you got a different agenda that doesn't feel like, hey, we're not connecting. How do you deal with those moments in a productive way to be able to connect, but also move forward in hopefully a productive way?
Yeah. This is such a deep conversation. But I'll tell you, it's been a journey for me. So, the Kelly at 57 is not the same Kelly at 27, 37. So I'll say
Right.
just the intentionality behind getting better and getting more comfortable in my skin has been my journey.
Mhm.
But I'll say, Jay, that honestly, it starts with having the courage to speak from your heart. And I think sometimes we think, oh, we're in business, or, we're in this very intimidating setting and we can't do that. And I would say that's not truthful, because it's a story we tell ourselves.
Mhm.
And so, recently you and I had an exchange, and it's via text, which is, you can't really feel the intent or the emotion behind
Right.
it. And I found myself sitting there based on the text you sent me. And I was like, then I started to make up this story, like, well, maybe he doesn't want to go, or maybe this, or maybe that, or, and I'm just like and I said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have the courage to say, hey, Jay, transparency moment. Are you cool with that?
Mhm.
And then I just said, hey, just like, tell me, is this what you want to do or not? And, your response was so good. But I think those transparency moments, they take courage,
Right.
and they take self-assurance.
Yeah.
And again, I haven't always been the most self-assured person, but I've always had the biggest heart, and I care, and I want to have, a positive impact. And so if I hold myself back, I know that it's holding the moment back.
Right.
And so I really work on that. But I would answer that with just being courageous to lead and speak from your heart.
Yeah. You talked about being transparent and also courage. I think one of the elements in that is vulnerability, and be able to say, hey, am I reading this right? Because I didn't feel like your text was like you were enthusiastic about it.
You did not feel enthusiastic to me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's kind of par for the course with this guy, especially over email and text. Because one of my rules, and I think it's a good rule in life for the most part, is to try to keep things just like there's no emotion in email, and if there's bad news, I'm calling.
Yeah.
So, but it was great. I was super happy that you asked me that, because I was like, oh no, like I'm pumped about this. This is great.
Yeah.
And it was really good to clarify, because I would have been sad in my spirit to find out that was negatively received.
Right.
So let's talk about some of these like aspects that come up in day-to-day interaction, right? So there are those crucial conversations that you talked about, or we kind of got into a little bit, like where there's some conflict, there's some issues, there's a disagreement at work. So having courage, being transparent, I think being able to address your feelings is key.
Yeah.
But let's talk about other interactions, like these human elements. Like you go up to somebody that's killing it at work or had a great year, and you congratulate them, or you want to recognize them and put the spotlight and show them some love. How does that feel to you when it's not received?
Yeah. Well,
And what's your encouragement to people when they do get that praise?
It's something that I observe a lot now. I don't know why, but I'm very honed in on this. And that is, and maybe because I've done it in my whole life, when somebody's given me a compliment, I've always dismissed it. I've just always been, like, oh, it's nothing. I've found that when I do that, I'm not giving that person respect. I'm not hearing them. It's like as if they don't matter, and I'm just dismissing what they said.
Right.
And then when I start to look at it that way, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never want somebody to feel dismissed. So what I do now, and I was actually talking with a top producer recently, and this girl's just killing it. She's on mark. She is just, and what a beautiful soul she has too. But I gave her a compliment and she quickly dismissed it. And so now what I'm doing, Jay, is just trying to lean into that moment with my head and my heart, just saying, hey, are you open to a thought? And she's like, of course. And I said, be cognizant of how you take in that compliment and not dismissing it, because
Right.
when you're dismissing it, not only you're dismissing it for the person that's giving it to you, but you're dismissing it for yourself.
Right.
And that's like impactful on a soulful level.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that. Like,
Right.
take it in. And it's uncomfortable to take it in. That's why we do it. That's why we dismiss it.
Right.
It gets uncomfortable, or you don't want people to think that you're braggy. And that's what she said to me. I don't want people to think I'm braggy. I said, you're not talking about yourself. I just gave you a compliment.
Yeah.
Right? There's a difference.
Yeah.
So this story we tell ourselves, man, it can be toxic.
Right.
It can be motivating.
Mm-hmm.
It can be all the things, So I think just be aware of the words you say and your actions in that moment. What do you think?
One thing to think about too is words for many are a form of love language.
Yes.
And so obviously that person may not receive words of affirmation as love, like they may not feel authentic, but other forms of love are giving gifts. And if you gave me that cool new Yeti and I was like,
yeah,
you'd be like, dang, what's up? And
good
somebody just
analogy.
went and gave you a gift. I mean, like for me, like if I think it's real, that's the hard part, is I think you have to make sure you deliver with authenticity, and it needs to be a genuine compliment.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are some of the most impactful things that you can give to somebody. And if somebody's intention is to go bless you with positive affirmation, whether that's your love language or not, you can appreciate it.
So true.
Right? And treat it as a gift and say, thank you for that. And I mean, I struggled with that too, not liking the spotlight, but I think somebody's trying to give you a gift. We need to receive it with blessing.
It's a great way to think about it.
What about kind of the opposite of, you go to somebody, you had an interaction, with TL, you had an interaction with me, and whatever, and you're disappointed with like how you handle that circumstance, and you go to them and just say, hey, can I take a minute? I want to apologize. I'm sorry will you forgive me for blank?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not received.
Yeah. I think it takes courage to do that. And if it's not received, at least you did your part.
Sure.
In making it as best as you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not being received, it's probably the other person and something that they're working through, that you can't control people. But I think that the fear and where the courage comes is, you're going to hold back from saying you're sorry because you're afraid that they're not going to receive it. And then you just go into this whole spiral. So I think just from an authentic place, just say what you have to say it with grace, say it with your heart. If you were wrong, say you were wrong. I mean, gosh, I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah,
and I say I'm sorry a lot. And it makes me feel better. And I learn from it. Then I'm like, well, what do I got to do now differently as I move forward?
Right.
And the other thing too, I'm reading this book right now. I'm listening to it. It's Mel Robbins. It's called Let Them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have not listened to it, I mean, I love the fact that she narrates this book and she's really telling a story. She's not just reading the book. So it's a great narration, if that's a word, narration. Anyway, but she says this thing in there that studies show that emotional response, it's chemical in all of our bodies, right? It's chemical.
Yep.
And it only lasts for 18 seconds. The chemical that fires the emotion is an 18-second rush.
Wow.
And I was like, gosh, I mean, I've been fiery in my life. And but that's stuck with me. So if I can just like let whatever that is, maybe somebody's coming to me and maybe I upset them or I said something wrong. And, I think the normal reaction is to get defensive and defend yourself. I'm really working on just letting it sit, not letting that emotion respond and then having me say something else that's not going to make the situation any better.
Right.
So again, I think just, that getting the flow within your head and your heart and figuring that out is part of the big journey for me. What about you?
Well, I think what you said was, I think I want to kind of like just kind of double click on it. You said, I feel better when I say sorry. And I don't think that's your intention. I think your intention is, hey, at least I did my part.
Yeah.
Like I recognize my fault and I did that. Because I think obviously your intention is to make them feel better too.
Yes, of course.
And obviously, how you can unpack those conversations is be able to sit with their pain, sit with their frustration. Our family, we didn't get to say sorry. We had to ask forgiveness. And that does lead to a two-way conversation.
Yeah.
And I will sit with that sometimes with people.
Yeah.
Like I'll go up to them and say, hey, will you forgive me for blank? And they'll be like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm like, wait, no. I asked you a real question.
Yeah.
Or they might say, oh, we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I asked you a real question because I do need your forgiveness because I did fail you. I did drop the ball.
Yeah. I love
Will
that.
you forgive me for blank? And that does require a response.
Yes.
And sometimes literally I've been in some awkward situations where I've asked the question and they don't. And they'll like change topics. I'm like, time out. Let's go there.
But it's that uncomfortableness.
It's
being
being
it's
willing to do that. And obviously I'm fortunate because that was like my normal practice.
Yeah.
In our family, like we did that. And then, my brother-in-law, he adopted that when he got married to my sister, and my wife has adopted that, and our kids do that. Yeah. And so sorry's one-sided.
Right.
And sorry could kind of be not what you said.
Yeah.
But kind of how it might have been landed is sorry is like good for me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much of that, oh, it's my bad. Like, but really like.
You don't mean it.
And it's just I'm just trying to get the dirt off my shoulder for the wrong I made.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think this was a great time to talk, and it's great to be able to hear your perspective. I look to you as somebody that handles those crucial conversations really well, and somebody that teaches me when we're in the fires. So know that I'm grateful for this time and for you sharing.
Thank you.